Thank you so much for watching the Borealis Show tonight. It's just gonna be me, and I promised myself not to pressure myself into having to do 60 minutes. So maybe it's gonna be 10 minutes and I have to run away. Maybe it's gonna be 20 minutes and maybe I'm gonna fill the whole 60 minutes. So let's see. Be gentle on me and know that I'm running this show because I believe if we share our stories, then we can make people out there feel less alone and less isolated with their pain or with their story, and inspire people to do the same or just lift them up. And this is why in October I decided to come here and start my little show, and I kept inviting guys and girls, my warriors and my goddesses, to share their story. And it was amazing to see how brave they are in sharing their story, and it was amazing to hear afterwards how good they felt about speaking up, standing up for themselves, and fearlessly show who they truly are. It is Mental Health Week, some say Mental Health Month, some say Mental Health Week, and today I want to bow down in front of everyone who is capable of honestly expressing him or herself and showing up authentically in this world, even though at times it's hard. I know a couple people who struggle with anxiety. I know quite a bit of people who battle the battle of depression, and I just want to say how proud I am of you and how thankful I am that you open up to me and that I can be there for you and that you trust me and that I can be a safe place. It makes me feel very honored. And that's what I wanted to speak off of my chest from the get-go. So huge respect to all you guys and girls out there who didn't quit, who keep fighting, and one day it will all get easier, and one day you will feel free and really good about this hard time that you overcame. If you watched my show a couple times, then you know that it's all about showing up authentically, finding out who you are. And if it's the first time you tune in today, then that's even better, because today is going to be very how can I put it, intense for me, but maybe mind-opening, heart-opening for you. And I want to provide you with tools that make you navigate through life easier and make your relationships stronger and just makes you feel more confident with who you are as a human being. So if you look into the mirror in the morning, or do you even look into the mirror at all? Can you look at what you see? Can you really look into your eyes deeply? Do you really know who you are looking at? And do you know who you are? What defines you? What has shaped you? What are you still gripping onto and think that is yours? What are things that you accept and are proud? What are things that you want to reject and don't want to carry around anymore? if you think about it, can you truly be yourself? Can you be honest with yourself? Can you express yourself authentically? Because expressing yourself honestly is so hard, because we all fear rejection. We all fear to be left in isolation, right? It's a threat to our health. So if you look at yourself, and you don't have to be standing in front of your mirror, but if you think of yourself, you have your body, you have your mind, and you have your soul and your heart, your feeling body, your emotional body. And let's start with the body first. I believe that your body is supposed to be your best friend, your closest friend. Your body is the vehicle that you can use throughout your life, that makes you experience all these things around you, the sounds, the taste, and the 5 senses, auditory and visual. And then it can also make you feel emotions, love and anger and sadness. That's been a very tough one for me, because I feel all my emotions in my body. So when it gets intense, then it's even more overwhelming. But if you're really listening to your body, I think pretty much all of us feel strong emotions in our body. How do you treat your body? And with treating your body, I don't only mean what do you feed it, what do you drink on a regular basis, or do you smoke? How do you, or how can I put it? I see a lot of people compensating for mental stress, and they run to the gym and really let it all out to a point where it gets really self-destructive. But afterwards, your body gives you these hormones and these feelings that you've done great, and your mind and your ego is like, today I lifted this amount of weights. Do you abuse and misuse your body in a certain way when you think about it? Or when it comes to eating, emotional eating is a big thing, not only amongst women, but amongst, a lot of people. When you are stressed, when you are bored, when you are sad, when you are anxious, do you tend to eat more? Does your body give you a sense of calm and tranquility then? Just be aware of how you use your body. And then when it comes to romantic relationships, the physical aspect, yes, we all need to be attracted to our participant, to our person of interest. But then when you get your relationship started, how important is the physical aspect for you? Can you put the sex drive aside and focus on really getting to know that person? Or is the physicality getting into your way, and you are like in the complete honeymoon and blindsided by it? That's also a way how you can reflect about how you use your body. I talked about this a couple times with my guests here, about women and how they present themselves on social media or dress. I'm all for short mini skirts and dresses, but be aware of what signal you're sending out there, and know that people will react. Other girls might be jealous and aggressive with you. Guys might be aggressive or very coming off strong. to you because you send out a signal that you might not be aware of. So, yeah, how do you use your body? Then we come to our mind. That one is a hard one, and I was only confronted with my mind when I started to try meditation, because it's the hardest one for me to do, to just sit still. And honestly, if someone would have told me that it is really brutal and hard, and that you are basically exposed to everything you're trying to run away from on a daily basis, then I would have known what I'm getting myself into. But no one told me, and just said, well, yeah, you have to be patient, and then it's all going to be fine. And for me, it was always, being at war with my mind and all the thoughts that run through my mind, and knowing that, for me, meditation today means having a little wrestle session with my mind, put him or her back into the corner, and where my mind is actually serving me, instead of the other way around, where my mind got shaped by my past and my childhood, and then tries to protect me like a paranoid mother from all kinds of situations, and in doing so limiting myself. And it's very interesting because, I don't know, maybe a lot of you, many of you, or some of you agree that the mind and the body are closely connected. And ever since I started dating Jason, you met him a couple times here on my show, he introduced me to a wider range of motion of my joints. I don't know if I put it right there in the right words, but before I was working out in the gym and only using my body in 3D, not 3D, how do you say, like in frontal and posterior way, and now I feel I'm using my body three-dimensional, and I use the full potential. I think we can all get stuck in a mode, the work and then weekend mode, and still when we are in our free time, be in the same mode as we are during the week. But if you allow yourself to rest and play, then it will also open your mind. So when you allow your body to actually move in every direction and use every single part of your body, then you will get rewarded with a healthy body and also a mind that is opening up. You will be less anxious and more confident with yourself and more open-minded. And this is what I believe strongly in when we say we should play and rest more, because through physical relaxation you also give your mind a rest. So is your mind, when you sit down and are in quietness, or when you give yourself some alone time? Some people cannot have alone time. They freak out when they are alone and they have not a busy weekend ahead of them. Is your friend your enemy? Your mind your friend or your enemy when you're really confronted with it? Is it trying to protect you constantly? Is it very judgmental with yourself and then also with others? Do you feel like you have to compete all the time? Do you feel you have to prove others wrong all the time? And when you hear me saying these things, you might even feel already how exhausting that would be, because maybe at some point in your life, in your childhood or high school or college, you went through bullying through a tough time, and afterwards you told yourself, okay, I have to hide, or I have to adapt. And our mind is a genius in that way. It wants to protect us, and then doesn't allow us to be the naive little girl anymore. Then you become the quiet girl who conforms and pleases everyone. Yeah. And when I talked about childhood and parenting, I didn't touch on that topic too much, but childhood, I remember there's children who are born as butterflies, and there's children who are born as bulldozers. Yeah, the bulldozers are born and they just are the go-getters. They are brave and just go and have a wonderful appearance in the society because they are so self-confident. And the butterflies are more shy, more observant, and more fragile. And if you know that as a parent, if we would realize that as a society, then we wouldn't try to push each other into corners, or we wouldn't try to force a butterfly to become a bulldozer, because we need both to have a healthy, diverse society. Yeah, the bulldozer has to be brought down at times, and the butterfly has to be protected, for instance. So where I was going with that is that if you know that you're a more sensitive character, then fully embrace that and be confident with that, because we need you guys out there to bring us down at times. And if you are a bulldozer, then be gentle. We need your power, we need your drive, but also know that there's people out there who function at a very different speed. Yeah. When it comes to your soul and your heart, I think we can all agree that we have a heart, feeling heart, and some agree that we have an emotional body that can be hurt, a heart that can be broken. And there's a good chance, if you watch my show, that you've been through a couple things in your life. You've been through relationship drama, through heartbreak. You grew up with your parents who were not given a manual when you were born, so they couldn't do everything to your, they couldn't cater to all of your needs. It's not possible, and no parent should feel shame for this. But yeah, when you're sitting here tonight and watching my show, then I know you must have gone through stuff, and that too must have shaped who you are today. Yeah, we had to deal with rejection, we had to deal with heartbreak, with disappointment, with self-doubt, and how much are we still clinging to this? How free are we from past trauma? I believe it's very important, in order to find out who you are, to go back in time and to look at your experience. And I say experience intentionally. I don't choose trauma, because a lot of people go back and internalize that trauma so intensely that they start to identify with the victim mentality that goes with it. And that's also a very dangerous place to be in. Yeah, you can either be fully inauthentic and running away from your truth all the time, but you can also be stuck in the victim mentality. And interesting enough, I mean, that's how it was with me. I, in the end, became a more abusive, manipulative person because I wanted to protect myself. I felt the need constantly to having to defend myself and to protect myself. And in doing so, I hurt many, many people. I let many, many people down, and pretty much all of my relationships, when I look back now, were intoxicated with this fear that I brought in. So when we are on this journey of trying to find out who we are, and we go back in time and we see, okay, back then something happened to me, and I know the spiritual guides and teachers out there would say, oh, no, it didn't happen to you, it happened for you. But yeah, today I will say happened to you. Then look at it and see that this is your experience you had, and the people that have done this to you had a complete different experience, and they had their own troubles going on, and they couldn't deal better with that certain situation. Yeah, not to say that trauma doesn't happen and abuse is super and you can get over it. No, it's the worst. But if you allow yourself to go back in time and to look at the experience you had, then also allow yourself and work on, allow yourself on letting that experience go again, and forgive the other who caused pain in your life, but more so forgive yourself that you brought yourself into that situation. I mean, if you are a child and your parents were abusive with you, then you had absolutely no chance. But then I want you to travel back in time and imagine that you cuddle that little child close to your chest and tell him or her that they are safe today and that they don't need to fear anything anymore, because you will protect it. And this is it was really helpful for me to see my story that way and to get out of this victim mentality, in knowing that I can be myself, I can be that sensitive, gentle person again, and I will do everything to protect myself, to not be hurt anymore, but I will also not allow that protective mechanism to interfere with my relations, to enter relationships with fear, and even friendships with fear, and to be fully trusting again. Because this is what we lose when we go through trauma, when something happened to us. We lose the trust. We lose the trust because someone overstepped our boundaries, but sometimes we also decide to not talk about our injuries, and then we lose the trust in others because they don't help and support us. But if you think about it, how can they help and support you when you don't show what's going on inside of you? And it was in the summer of 2016, 10 years, I was quiet about what had happened to me. 2016, I decided to tell my mom, and this changed our whole relationship, because out of a sudden I could see that she would have been so supportive and protective back then if I had told her, but I didn't allow her to. I wanted to protect her from that story, and I didn't want her to be overly protective with me afterwards. But at the same time, I didn't give her a chance to be there for me. I didn't give her a chance to be my strong shoulder on which I could cry on. And this is really something you have to keep in mind, that people are not made out of the same wood. Some people go through traumatic experiences and then wake up 2 days later and are perfectly fine, going back to the bulldozers. But some people are butterflies and they are hurt for a long, long time. And if these people don't open up and find support, then they will turn into an evil, dangerous, aggressive butterfly. I hope this all makes sense to you. So that was to the trauma and going back in time, and then forgiving others, but also forgiving yourself. It is a very hard work to do, because living in resentment and anger makes you feel powerful in some way. And as I said in the beginning, you can misuse and abuse your body, and really building up a very strong shell that looks as if no one could penetrate it. But you're really just lying to yourself. I mean, you feel strong and you look strong, but inside you don't feel strong. You feel as sensitive, if not more, than before the trauma happened. And that, in German you say Diskrepanz, but that shift in reality, how we perceive reality, how we are perceived from the outside and perceive ourselves, the gap is so huge that you can only feel lonely and isolated, because you know that it will be so hard to get out of this strong mode and resentful mode and get back to who you really are, because you will disappoint so many people and lose so many followers or whatsoever. But what I learned in my journey is that when I actually showed up authentically, I gave other people the space to do and feel the same, to tell me how they truly feel about themselves. And it was so shocking and crazy, because the people, the most beautiful girls you can imagine, the most graceful, elegant ladies out there would tell me that they feel deep shame and guilt for something they have done in the past. And when they receive, or when they get compliments, they cannot even receive it because they still feel so ashamed. And that was so crazy for me to experience. But I experienced it with myself too, that as I let go of my gym identity, aggressive identity, I was becoming very, very vulnerable. And it was a very hard place to be, because you feel everyone from everywhere could attack you and make you feel very weak and powerless again. But if you start to own how sensitive you are and how much empathy and compassion you have for other people, when you retrain that on a regular basis, that this is very important to show up as a sensitive person in this world, then you will wash bullying and harsh critiques and haters just off your skin, and just stand there and even smile. And those people are the most dangerous. The people who in face of aggression can just sit there and look unimpressed and smile is really impressive. So who are you? I'm focusing today. And if we find out who we truly are, then decision making will be so much fun, because the decision you will make when it comes to your job, when it comes to your relationship, when it comes to parenting, or how you behave in society in general, will feel so easy and good out of a sudden. And you will find the job that you need, not only want. You will find the relationship that you need and not only want. And you will parent your children, or if you decide to not have children but be an aunt or an uncle, with a very open mind and kind-heartedly. And when it comes to romantic relationships, I also realized that when it comes to needs, we are all so paranoid of being needy, and we are all so paranoid of being dependent, and we are all so afraid of showing up authentically, and we're so afraid of being possessed. But when you think about it, if you could look at it as if you were owning a place or a house versus renting a house, yeah? You rent a house because you want to be flexible. You don't want to deal with all the stuff that has to do with fixing and really maintaining the house. When you buy and you own a house, then you make sure that it's clean. You make sure that you feel comfortable in it. You make sure that all the bills are paid. You make sure that it's a place that you feel good in it. And that's why I feel you shouldn't be afraid of owning your relationship, owning your partner, because this doesn't mean that you possess them and suffocate them and don't let them grow or change, but this means that you take so much care of them that you take them as a part of yourself. You are curious and you try to attune to them and find out who they truly are, and you show up 100% authentic. You express yourself 100% honestly, and then you can own each other and be happy with having a very strong relationship where we have each other's backs. And I know I said that a couple times before, but trustworthiness is key. Physical attraction, or let's say the chemistry between two people, is key, no doubt. But everything that comes afterwards is trustworthiness and giving the other people, the other person, the space to grow and change and expand without being fearful of losing them. And when it comes to needs, you shouldn't be afraid. Like when you found the right partner, you shouldn't be afraid of sharing your needs with them, because if they love you, then they trust you that you're not trying to manipulate them. They know you so well that when you express your needs, then they will do everything to fulfill it, or at least not do the opposite. So, yeah, this is a very important thing to do when it comes to emotional, romantic relationships. But also when you look at it, when it comes to a job interview, yeah, the boss who's interviewing you, he wants to make sure that you are a perfect fit in the company. And if you lie to yourself, if you show up and play a game that might impress them but is not sustainable to hold, then you're really hurting yourself. And then why wonder that you get fired, or that you get sick and unhappy in that job because you lied to yourself in the first place. And when it comes to parenting, I always have to smile, because who am I to talk about parenting, because I have no children. But I've been a daughter for 33 years, soon 34 years. And I'm a little butterfly. I'm very sensitive. And I studied my parents. I don't want to say to a detriment, but I studied them to the point that sometimes it must have been annoying, because I wanted to understand them. And I heard something really beautiful the other day, that if you experience, or if you imagine that little egg being fertilized by the sperm initially, and then from that magical moment on, it creates like millions and trillions, gazillions of other cells, and every little cell from the very beginning has a purpose. So if you see humanity as a human body, and you go back now to that little image and see that every little cell from the get-go has a purpose. So there's cells who will become liver, a part of the liver. There's cells who will become part of the lungs. There's cells who will become part of the heart, and so on. So same with us. When we are born, we have a purpose, and we have to follow that purpose in order to be a functioning member in that in this society, in that human body. So if you are a little liver cell and you are born to parents who are heart cells, then they can only try and give everything that was taught to them, to give it to you. Because how can they know that you're not a heart cell? Yeah, they don't know, because it's not disclosed from the beginning. You will only know at the very end of your life, oh yeah, I was supposed to be a liver cell, and I was trying to be a heart cell all along because I listened to my parents so well. So if you're born as a little liver cell to the heart cells, then they will unconsciously press you into something that is not yours. But they do so because they love you, they want the best for you, they want to protect you, and they want you to be successful in society. So if you look at your parents and you really see, oh my God, yeah, I mean, they were so abusive, annoying, and they never allowed me to be who I am, then don't be too hard on themselves, because they probably didn't have that open mind to see that you are meant to go your own path, and you are meant to be trusted. Yeah, your parents should trust you, even though you grow into a different direction than they grew, then they should trust you. But it's a very hard thing to do, because we all feel very protective of our offspring, and the human baby is the most vulnerable little thing on planet Earth you can imagine. Yeah, we are born at a stage where we are still so extremely dependent to our mother and then father, that helplessness that we portray to the outside makes the parent think, oh my God, I have to give them proper guidance, I have to give them structure, otherwise it's going to lead into the wrong direction, and it's going to end up as a drug addict and with so many tattoos and no job and on the street, you know. So we are so helpless at the beginning, but at the same time, from the very beginning, we have everything inside of us needed to fulfill our purpose here in society. So my little message today here to all the parents who are listening, or future parents, the more trust you instill into your child, the less likely it will actually become a drug addict, because you will instill confidence into their little bodies and brain and heart, and they will be a very successful self. And on the other side, if you instill them lack and fear, and if you expose them to punishment when they don't follow your idea of how they are supposed to become, if you punish them with emotionally withdrawing, a huge thing in my family. I was allowed to mention this. I asked my mom, which is horrible because for a child, again, it's a life threat. When you instill fear, then you are most likely to raise a child who doesn't know how to function, and they will very quickly sense that they have to fit in somehow, but they will not fit in authentically and fulfill their purpose. They will put a mask on and they will start to please, and in doing so completely losing their identity. And some people never wake up from this. Some people live a life for their entire life and live happily ever after. But those people who wake up in the middle of the night and realize, oh my God, I was daddy's girl, I was my husband's wife, I was my kid's mother, but who am I really? That's, again, a very, very intense place to be in. And I feel as a parent you can avoid this in really attuning into your child and letting them grow into any direction they want and giving them gentle guidance. So yeah, I think I pretty much covered everything I wanted to cover today, except this one thing. Every time I hear a person say, yeah, my life is actually good, yeah, I'm actually really happy and content right now, but I know it's not gonna last long. I know somehow something evil is gonna come again and throw everything off. When I hear people living in that mindset, it makes me really sad, because if you could try and see it from a different perspective, if you could try and see that life on planet Earth is all about failing, falling and hurting yourself, being rejected, having to be faced to change and destruction. Yeah, this is, when you look at it, how the planet Earth was built and how violent and aggressive and destructive everything is around us. Actually, when you get out of your little Netflix bubble and then put down your Ben and Jerry's, if you can look, and that doesn't mean that you shouldn't run around and be scared all the time, but if you can embrace that life is all about change, life is all about having to let go and say goodbyes, everything has an end, then you will start to appreciate the good times more and be less upset and less thrown off when something bad comes along, or when something really destroys everything that you thought you had built up. And if you trust that destruction will ultimately mean that it is making space for something new to grow, then I find you can also relax a little more. Okay? So I think humanity, we are all about resilience, and if we know how resilient and loving and caring we have been thus far, then we can relax a little more and embrace a little more how chaotic and confusing this world is. Okay? So this was me today, raw Borealis. 45 minutes I think I managed to serve to you, and I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you could take something out of it. I love you all so much. I'm so grateful for your support. I'm especially grateful for the support I received from Jason and Jesse and my mom and my dad and Sean. Thanks for always watching my show. I wish you all a wonderful weekend, and I will be here next Friday again at 6:30. Bye-bye.